Today I am going to show you guys firsthand, we're going to zoom in on this, how to submit an invoice to Amazon to get ungated. Now I'm going to have a link here that'll lead to a much more thorough video I did talking about suppliers, taking pictures of the product, the requirements. This is really just going to be kind of a refresher, but more of a focus just on the invoice itself, how to mark it up, what verbiage to use when submitting it. And so before we even get into that, let's just do a real brief rundown on ungating as a whole. For anybody that's not familiar, when you start selling on Amazon, you're not just allowed to sell whatever it is that you would like. Okay? There are certain things you're allowed to sell and many things you are not. My personal take, and everyone might have their own opinion, if you don't know what you're doing with the things you're not allowed to sell, why worry about spending time, money, and effort on getting ungated? Because you're not going to know what to do with those things either. Learn the ropes, sharpen your teeth on the plethora of items that you're already allowed to sell. That's what I did. That's my opinion. To each their own. Okay? Learn the ropes, then worry about other brands that you're not allowed to sell, in my humble opinion. But as far as ungating, it can also happen naturally and organically. So let's just say I've been selling on Amazon for 6 months. A lot of things will just start to open up for me that I'm now allowed to sell. That's kind of what I did. I didn't really force feed any ungating, just with time and effort. It just a lot more things opened up. And then if I came across a brand or an item I really liked, then I'd go through the process. But that was months into it. And if it didn't happen naturally and organically. Also, when you're scanning an item in the Amazon seller app and it says restricted, you can request instant approval. And sometimes it happens. But if you don't tap the button, you'll never know. There's nothing to lose by doing that. So make sure that you do that. So naturally, organically, instant approval, and then also force feeding it, which is kind of what we have here with the invoice. When those don't work, like I said, the video that I linked is going to be much more in depth, but basically you find a proper supplier, you buy at least 10 units of the brand, and then you submit all of this to Amazon along with pictures and stuff. So as far as the invoice is concerned, I'm going to have it here on the screen and I'm going to read it off because it's in front of me here. I'm literally taking, in this example, a bright blue pen. Now, I couldn't find it. I do have a Sharpie, and that's what I would strongly encourage you to use, like a big red Sharpie. And the reason for that, you want to make it so over the top obvious that this isn't trying to be doctored with or photoshopped with. Nobody can dispute that this is my own handwriting and I'm not trying to pull a fast one. And that's the point of that, right? In my opinion, that's why you want to use a big bold Sharpie, use your own handwriting, not try to edit it in software, because the last thing you want is it to seem like you're trying to falsify documents, because that's a quick way to get your account suspended or deactivated, right? And so we'll start in the upper right-hand corner. I like to circle who the supplier is, and I just point out supplier, okay? Now, in an ideal world, it would also have their address, phone number, website, and I would circle that separately and put supplier info. By the way, this is just an old invoice I had around. I can't swear that this one would even work, but I didn't want to show one with actual product I buy. This is an item that I actually caught an IP complaint with years ago, and I just happened to print off the invoice. Then on the left-hand side, we're going to see billing address and we're going to see shipping address. Both of them have my name. Both of them are the same matching address. And you'll see I kind of created a box around those and put my name and address for both of them. Then moving down, this one happens to have the UPC. So I circled that and just put UPC. Then the description of the item. This is, to me, probably the most important part. And then I put a long line, ASIN, and you put the ASIN there, right? Quantity, 10. That's important because you have to have 10. Okay, then the pricing's irrelevant. That stuff doesn't matter. Also, I forgot to mention, I like to underline the word invoice, because sometimes they don't take like just purchase orders or something like that, or just a receipt. So to show that it's an actual invoice, and I like to circle the date as well. Now, could I just submit this with not doing any of this? Probably. Do I think it would be a lot harder or more time consuming to get it approved? Probably. So basically, my mindset is to set them up on a platter. These are the things they asked for. And by the way, there's a checkbox that you have to check that your invoice contains all of these. So what I'm doing is noting the things that it requires and even some more, right? And so that's basically it as far as the invoice goes. Now, as far as the message I send with them, along with the pictures, again, you could watch the other video. What I like to do is keep it simple. I'm not trying to smooth talk. I'm not trying to add any extra words that are necessary. I like to basically tell them what's on this invoice is exactly what they asked for. So I would say something like, please find my invoice for ASIN 123456789. You'll see I bought 10 units in new condition from supplier XYZ. You'll also find the supplier information, and if you can't see it, their website is this. I bought it. You'll see the purchase, you'll see the invoice date, excuse me. You'll see my billing address and shipping address, and they match up, and my name, and they match up as it appears with my Amazon seller account. Thank you. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. They're telling me I need 10 units. They're telling me they need supplier info. They need the supplier. They need my name, my address, the ASIN. So I'm just regurgitating to them. It's all on there, right? And for me, that's proven to be very successful. And so from there, with the pictures and everything else, I'll submit it. With Amazon, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I'll even just change the name of the file. Invoice 12345, invoice ABCD, invoice ASIN, this and that. Just keep submitting it. If nothing else, in my head at least, I think it looks good to be prompt and on top of this to show that you care. And this typically gets the job done, whether this actual invoice will work or not because it's missing the supplier info on here. I'm not sure. But that aside, everything else in here is how I would always do this. Okay. And so another thing I'll mention too, if you guys are familiar with it, but I've recently partnered to like create a leads list. And for anyone that's in there, there's actually an ungating guide for members, a handful of different stores, a lot of different brands, so that if you're interested, but you're ungated or you feel like you're gated in too much stuff, there's a great tutorial. There's a ton of automatic ASINs that you can, that have proven success, that if you apply with this ASIN, you get auto approved for this very often, right? That all that information, it'll be linked below as well. But that stuff's really great too. A nice feature benefit of the leads list group, in case that's a concern of anyone, like you want to join, but you're gated and stuff. Well, there's something to walk you through, plus the whole community to help you get ungated as well. So that's really the gist of it, guys. I appreciate you being here. I hope that you find some value in this and that it helps you get ungated. Again, to each their own. To me, focus on the things you can sell when you're a beginner and then worry about getting ungated later. Okay. I'm Jonathan. Duke does Amazon. Questions, comments, topics, let me know. Have a great day. I will see you guys soon. Take care.